Hello everyone, welcome. It's Denise, your independent Norwex consultant. Tonight we are going to do some little sciencey stuff, which I love. These are really the demos that kind of really turned light bulbs on for me and made me want to learn more about these products. So this is like my favorite demo day. I don't know, I do love the mop day too, but I really like this. We are going to do two demos tonight. I'm going to do the raw chicken demo, and then I'm going to do the glow germ demo with the wipes versus the Enviro cloth. The raw chicken demo. So basically there are three main types of cleanings, right? There is your traditional 20th century chemical cleaning, which is where you're bringing in essentially a pesticide to kill off bacteria and germs and whatever's on your surface. But those things are still left on your surface. So if you use the chemical to clean them, you still have to get the residue and bacteria off of your surface. You're left with the dead bacteria everywhere. So that's what the chemical does, is kills things. Then there is thermal cleaning, which not a whole lot of people do, but some of us do, especially when you sterilize in your dishwasher. That's steam cleaning, right? Or if you obviously get a steam cleaner and you're using that high heat to essentially kill off those things. That's your thermal cleaning, or your high heat clean. And then there's mechanical cleaning, which is what we do with our microfiber. So not only the Enviro cloth, like the kitchen cloth, all of our microfiber takes between 99.5, some of them have been tested at, up to 99.1, like our Enviro is 99.9. Even the dust mitt takes 99.9% of bacteria off your surfaces, but it's physically removing it. So a good analogy that they use is when you're weed eating in your garden. So if you spray a chemical on that weed, it kills the weed and shrivels up, but you're still left with that dead weed in your garden. But if you get your little tools out and you dig down from the root and pull that weed out and it's completely gone, that would be your mechanically removing. So that's what we're going to do here today. And I am going to show you with some raw chicken that I have right here. So I'm kind of a show me kind of a girl, right? I know a lot of people are. You can tell me it does. We have lots of third-party testing that show that they can do these things. But, I like to see and feel and touch. Show me that it can do it. So that's what I love about this demo. So I'm going to take this lovely piece of raw chicken. I'm just going to rub it on this plate. The fatty little juices in there. It's pretty gross. Put that back in there. And I'm going to use my Enviro cloth to first clean off my hand and get that stuff off of there. And then I am going to use this Pro Clean Test Strip. This is not a Norwex product. This is made by a company called Hygienia. I order them online. And they're used to test surfaces for protein. So if you get a gray, light purple, or dark purple, that's going to be your dirty. You're really looking for green, and that's clean. So the darker the purple, the more proteins it's picking up on the surface. And a protein is teeny tiny. So you imagine if you're able to pick the protein up, you're also picking up bacteria and everything else that's above. But we have actually physically tested for bacteria, but this is the best in-house demo that I can show you. And I'll put a little graphic up later showing the scale of how small a protein is versus everything else. But this is going to test for that. So obviously you're going to see that this thing should turn green. This thing should turn purple pretty fast because you just saw me put that raw chicken all over there. So it's already turning gray, and then turns purple pretty quickly. Oh yeah, it's already getting pretty purple. So purple equals protein. That's your dirty surface. I'm gonna come in with my Enviro cloth. Again, I just dampened this with water. There's no cleaners on here whatsoever. I'm gonna do that nice flat clean that we talked about doing yesterday so that all that microfiber can go to town and do its job. And I'm just going to wipe that across the surface. and let it mechanically pick that up off of there. And then I will come back with a fresh strip. So you can see there's my purple guy. You can see how purple he's gotten. I'm gonna take this fresh strip and I'm gonna test that same surface and see if I get a green or a purple. So you can see it turns green really fast. It's clean. There's no protein left on that. So there you have it with just that quick little wipe of my Enviro cloth with just water. I have cleaned that raw chicken protein completely off of there. So I also talked yesterday about the density of the cloth, right? So you all saw me use this surface right here to wipe that up. So what happens if I go and wipe this again? Would it be possible to put that chicken bacteria back down on my surface? So I'm just gonna wipe this again and then do one more. I'm gonna use my green guy and test one more time and see. I rubbed that right in that center. Did I redistribute any? If this thing comes in contact with protein, it will turn purple. So you can see that stayed green. I did not put the chicken back on. Now, just because we all are a little skeptical of things, you could say like, how do I know that that thing, once it's green, doesn't stay green? So I'm gonna go ahead and touch this chicken just to show you, had there been any protein left on there, when I re-cleaned that, it would have turned purple pretty quickly. So you can see it's already changing. And now we have 2 dirty swabs. So it doesn't redistribute. You can go from surface to surface and it's not gonna take your germs that you're picking up and going from place to place. So yeah, there you go. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about chemical wipes for just a moment. And then we're gonna do a little test with our same Enviro cup that I just used and the chemical wipes. And I'm gonna bust out this Glow Germ. This is also not a Norwex product. This is a germ simulator. You can get this, I ordered this on Amazon. And it simulates germs. It moves like germs. It acts like a germ would act, but it shines real bright under our blue light. So we're gonna do this. I have my lovely black light, blue light, yeah. I'm gonna have my lovely assistant Brianna here, so she'll actually, she's my daughter, she assists me sometimes. She's gonna flick the lights for me, and I will show you guys really good in here how the two do under the black light. So really quick, let's just chat about disinfectant wipes, because if you're like me, you know, these are our go-to for when we want to clean things, especially if anyone in my house was like sick or anything like that. I want to wipe down all my doorknobs and light switches and any bathroom contacts, all that stuff. And I just always look at the big red bold letters on here that says kills 99.9% of germs and bacteria. And I went to town with that, right? That's all I read. I was never one to get into all this back here. Some of you may have, and if you did, my hat's off to you. I'm kind of like, I don't got time for that. I just go off the big bold things and go on with my life. Another, you know, item that you buy at the store, you trust the advertising that they're giving you. It's a well-known name, and you're just like, okay, yeah, that definitely works. And I'm not saying that they don't work. I just want you to understand how you have to use them if they do work. Again, and I'm not telling you don't use these. I personally don't use them anymore. But if you do use them, I want you to actually use them right, so you're not just wasting your money. So I'm just gonna read, I'm not gonna read all this to you. I suggest if you have them, go ahead and read it all, but we don't got all night, right? I don't want to keep you guys here. I know everyone wants to get on with their evenings. I'm just gonna read the important stuff to you. So number 1, it says to use, you're gonna use enough fresh wipes on a surface to visibly wet your surface. And then in order to disinfect that surface, you have to allow the surface to remain wet for 4 minutes. 4 minutes. So you have, I don't know if you've used these, but they dry pretty quick, right? You wipe and your surface gets dried pretty fast. But in actuality, if you're wanting to disinfect and kill off all that bacteria, you need to stand there with fresh wipes. Every time that dries, you've got to wipe it again and make sure that surface remains wet with that chemical for 4 minutes. Then allow it to fully air dry after your 4 minutes of wet contact time. Now, so you pre-cleaned it, because that doesn't clean it, that's just killing everything. You have to pre-clean your surface, then you gotta wait the 4 minutes, and then if it is anything that's gonna come in contact with your skin, which we talked about yesterday, absorbs everything, right? Or any type of food is gonna touch that surface, you then are supposed to bring water out and rinse the surface after. You wanna get all that chemical residue off your surface. So the thing that I thought was saving me time was really just wasting my cash, because I never in my life did that. I grabbed a wipe, I wiped, I went on from surface to surface cleaning until that thing looked like it was done, threw it away, and on to the next. So I did a lot of cash in the trash with these guys. The other thing to note is that this actually says right on here, precautionary statement. This is hazardous to humans and domestic animals. So how about you? I have a lot of humans that live in my house and domestic animals. So that's kind of scary. And then to just understand that this is actually listed as a pesticide. So you're bringing a pesticide into your home to clean with chemicals. The MSDS sheet does recommend using gloves when you use these, because your skin will absorb those chemicals. So that's, I'm sorry if that's devastating. I've devastated myself and a few people that I know with that information, because I was addicted to these things probably just as equally as I was to paper towels. So now that we know how to use them properly, I do want to just show you the comparison to what happens when we do just grab one of these, wipe and go, versus grabbing one of these, wet and wiping and going, okay? So I'm gonna put a little bit of the Glow Germ on each plate. I am gonna put a glove on, because I do not wanna take those chemicals into my body. And then we're gonna be in the dark for a minute, so I will have Bree go ahead and click the lights. All right, so you can see there's the bad germs just kind of hanging out on the plate. I am going to take my wet wipe and clean one plate. So here's the wet wipe. I'm gonna take the plate, and you can see what happens. It is literally smearing that all around, and it's putting chemical down, but also spreading the germs all over. I'm gonna set that aside. I'm gonna take that guy off. Now let's see if I come in with my dampened Enviro cloth and what happens when I wipe this up with this. So you can see that physically just took that off of there. I'm dropping it everywhere. And removes all that glue germ right off of there. Okay, so I think I put a little too much glow germ, guys. But now let's see if I come in with, I do want to get this all cleaned off because that's bothering me. There we go. So now if I come in with that wet wipe and I go to this plate that I just cleaned off, let's see what it does to that one. So without the black light, you wouldn't really see that, right? You would just see a nice wet thing, but the germs are there. So if you go to a new surface and use that thing that looks like it's clear, it literally will redistribute what you picked up from the one plate onto the other. Now, if I come in with my Enviro cloth, which you can see has some stuff on there, right? If I use that same one to wipe this up, is it going to redistribute? It actually takes off all that residue that it left on there on both the plates. Ta-da! All right, go ahead, you can put the light back on. And we're gonna turn the lights back on out of the dark. So you can see, I don't know how many of you use those wipes and would go from surface to surface and just use them until they were dried out or looked, dirty. That's what I did. And so literally if you did pick up any sort of germ from one surface to the next, when you went to clean something else, it literally would just move it from surface to surface. So I obviously don't use those anymore. That's a big thing in schools as well. They are on all the supply list for school supplies. And can you imagine how many little kids, right, have so much germs? And then you're using those from desk to desk. So one kid might not have had the germs, but another kid does. And if you wipe that desk and go to the next one, you can literally actually be spreading the germs around. And I know a lot of teachers that actually give the wipe to the little kid to go clean their desk with no gloves or anything of that nature. So send your kid to school with, we have the lovely travel and viral cloths. I think they are so great for that. And that's really it for tonight.